All right. Well, it's necessary to do another round of responses for the same token. And of course, this wastes time, valuable time that should be used in tokens that are actually worth people's time. But as I do coverage, I've repeatedly said that it's important that you listen to the totality of the audio I share. That means that you need to listen to it from start to finish. Instead, what I'm seeing a pattern of is people are doing let's call it the Dave Chappelle closer incident. They're listening and then they get triggered by something and then they stop and then they immediately compile some response. That clearly tells us they didn't listen to the totality of the audio, because had they done so, there'd be no reason for them to comment the way they did. This causes me then to need to respond because it's obvious that you're not listening to the totality of the audio. And if you're already coming in, and I said this as well, with in your mind this notion that I'm wrong and you're listening to try to have somebody debunk you, I've already told you, I don't care what you do with your money. It's your money. I'm not in your wallet. What I did say, though, is you need to listen to the totality of the audio, start to finish, because you have to have an objective opinion going in. Don't come in assuming I'm right or wrong. Don't leave assuming I'm right or wrong. Take the information and compare it against what you see, and you'll see that what I'm saying is the truth. Now, how you interpret that truth is entirely up to you. I don't know how many times I need to repeat that same mantra for some of you so that you get it, but here's how simple this is. I'm going to go through the naysayer list. This is a different set of naysayers, and every last one of them got triggered. And they get triggered off of one word, which is really, again, I've acknowledged that in the United States, and I know I'd say 99% of the ones responding are from the United States, because that's how they act out here. But I understand that in the United States, our system of education is failing people. I understand this. But I also understand that social media has caused people to simply get unreasonably triggered over certain words, and they don't take the time to critically think about the root and basis of why those words are coming to surface in the first place. If they had done so, they'd realize that what I'm saying is still true, even if they don't like the word. Then they're free to come back and say, for this project, I like this project. I'm a gambler. I knew when to hold him and when to fold him and when to walk away and knew when to run. But please don't use that word to refer to my project. Now, I am going to come back at you and say, not in Jim Cornette terms, but F you, because I'll use what term I choose. Your choice then is to not listen to my show, and I support your choice not to listen to the show. However, I'm not going to adjust words because they trigger you. Unless if I say something that is directly detrimental to an individual, group, race, creed, or color, him nor her, I don't want to hear it, because we're talking about digital numbers at the end of the day sitting in a blockchain. For people to get so triggered and so panties butt hurt over words that are dealing with numbers in a blockchain. Do you understand how silly it sounds, me even describing it to you? But that's really what we're dealing with here with some of these people. I'm not going to adjust words to make you feel better about your gambling currency. I support your right to gamble how you choose. I'm not going to adjust my words simply because you get triggered. Your job is to then choose whether or not you're going to continue to get triggered or simply ignore my show. I support either of those choices. You are free to ignore the show. You already know what my cadence and flow, that rhymes. So here's the thing. I'm going to do the naysayer thing again, because these are a different set of naysayers. It's a different set of naysayers. Let's talk this through. Let's see how this works. And hopefully I've addressed each and every one of this group of naysayers. It's a different group of naysayers. But let me try to do this again. And again, for those that are wondering what the heck I'm talking about, it's around SAFUU again, if the thumbnail wasn't obvious on that, because the SAFUU diehards are out in full force again, doing the same thing they were doing again. And so I've got to address it again. I was pretty thorough on the first pass of this. And in summary, they aren't listening to the full audio. Because they're not listening to the full audio, they're just getting set off about a word they don't like, and they don't understand that what I'm saying is still true. Crypto Joe, you don't know the SAFUU tokenomics, LOL. I broke down the tokenomics in the initial coverage episode from start to finish directly from their website. The reason that Crypto Joe is responding saying, I quote, don't know the tokenomics is because Crypto Joe didn't listen beyond the point that I said that the price was going to tank. Crypto Joe missed, therefore, the point where I said it's likely going to recover, but it will take time. It depends on how much additional sell behavior will happen. Crypto Joe was too damn lazy to go through the comments where I responded to people that were asking if it was going to recover. And I said, likely, but it will depend on how much sell behavior is still there. Under no circumstances did I ignore the fact that, yes, as a rebase mechanic, it should, and I said this on the audio, should recover. We don't know how long it'll take. We don't know how long it'll be or how hard it'll be. We don't even know. The volume is the problem. The volume was down. I said that on the audio. Because the volume's down, it's going to take it a longer time to recover. We don't know when it'll recover, but in every situation that you can find, if you are not so damn lazy, Crypto Joe, you'll see that I responded to people saying it's likely going to recover. That doesn't debunk the fact that it dumped. This SAFUU protocol dumped, period, point blank, which brings me to the other one. And just to be clear here, this one here, it's two people and they didn't even respond to each other. So they're now coming from multiple angles. That's fine because I can duck and dodge bullets like the Matrix all care to. CC, SAFUU crapped. How? It's still up 10x for pre-sale. There's all going to be a pullback. What project has it? LOL. To which somebody else, Mihai Girakuta, I can't even pronounce that one. So that one's the 1% that's not in the United States. I couldn't understand him either. It came out with $16 on pre-sale and just over 18 on launch, and now it's over 170 plus tokens received every 15 minutes. To these two people, I have to try to help them understand. Because just to be clear, these two people are the definition of the crypto bubble. Because in their mind, it's, well, pre-sale. If you were in the pre-sale, you're way up. If you only spent $18, you're way up. What are you talking about, bro? Let me educate both of you and everybody else listening. People outside the crypto bubble are not buying into pre-sales because they're not gamblers. People outside the crypto bubble, as I've said repeatedly on shows, a lot of them fit in the majority of them fit in the FOMO group. They see a green candle, they buy in. I guarantee you, the vast majority of people that bought into this project were not in the pre-sale function. They were post-live. Why do I know this to be true? Because the green candle kept growing after it launched. Those are going to be FOMO people that are buying in when it's going up. They see the green candle and they buy in on it. Those people, I guarantee there's a lot of them who bought in at a price point where they're sitting at a loss right now because remember, it spiked all the way to over $300 freaking a token. So if you bought it right now, if I look at the token's price, you'd have had to buy in below $200 in order to not be sitting at a loss right now. The majority of them are likely in that middle tier. If I look at median, you probably got a slice that were under that, but you also got a slice that were over that. Everybody sitting over that is sitting at a loss. They got wrecked, to use a term. It crapped. And that's all I said. It crapped. You took a price of $330 per coin and it went down near at its lowest to $120 per coin. That's crapped. You lost, bro, you lost $210 per coin. You lost $210 per coin. How is that not a crap out? I understand your desire to be optimistic. Oh, we're still up deep. I understand that. You can be optimistic and say, and acknowledge, yes, it crapped in price. We're still up and we're still optimistic. Great. That's your response. Don't come at me talking about you don't understand how it crapped. You don't see that it crapped because you're in the bubble. You don't understand. Everybody else that isn't in the crypto bubble isn't in the pre-sale, and the vast majority of them probably bought in off the green candles after go live. They're not in that price point. They didn't buy it at 18 per. They bought it at hundreds per, and then they got wrecked Is it a long-term wreck? We don't know. As I said, it likely will recover, but it'll take some time. If you heard my other episode, I said not everybody is a diamond hand. Most people are going to then FOMO because the majority are FOMO sellers. They're going to FOMO sell when they see the red candles. We saw that cascade effect. Now, we don't know who's still left and how much money is still left buying into the project. That takes time. SAFUU's only been out for 2 freaking weeks. So you're reacting to me saying crapped. It crapped. You lost over 200 per coin. It crapped. If we're dealing with a bank account, and this is fiat, if we're dealing with a bank account and your bank account funnels money to your 401k, and your 401k loses however much money, let's say that you had $100,000 in there, and that $100,000, you lost $20,000 of that, or $50,000 of that, or $70,000 of that. It crapped. It might recover. It should recover. It doesn't matter. For the moment, it crapped. It's important that you two wrap your heads around the fact that it crapped so that now we can really analyze what it will take to get it out of the crapper. The other risk that people have been calling out is because it crapped, there's a risk that Mr. Car Salesman might just quit, give up, and go to another project, which is what allegedly he did on Clever Defy. I wasn't there, but that's part of the risk, is because it crapped so deep, as expected, as I told you it would, he might just quit and say, oh, well, it's failed, and then rug it, take the money, and go to another project. I don't know that he will or won't, but there's that risk. That's what I said. That's why I call it out. This guy crapped. It crapped. Now let's analyze it and see where it goes from here. But you need to listen to all of it, not just the words that trigger you folks. Now on the flip, and this one, he's not that bad. And I want to answer his question because he's not that bad. I understand his concern. I just think it's short-sighted. He didn't listen to all the audio. David Springer, this is about Libero, by the way, but it ties to SAFUU because of the whole KYC and da-da-da. David Springer, not trying to be difficult, but how can you be comfortable with Libero when the whole team is fully anonymous? Is the contract so solid they can't rug? I always feel more comfortable when the team at least does KYC through the audit. I want to respond to this. Again, his concern is valid, but what he's missing is I never said at any point that Libero is legit. I said it's doing what they told me. They have an AMA posted on their site, full transcript, where people's identities is in the AMA. They've done enough to at least identify who they are. They didn't need to do a full KYC because we already knew going in. It's based on the whole Thorium and Epic Hero and everything. It's part of an existing ecosystem. It's not like we're dealing with brand new people here. So that's one. Two, we saw examples time and time again where KYC didn't do you any good and the project still failed or rug pulled or honeypot or whatever, despite knowing who it is. And the biggest concern I had with SAFUU is this dude, the car salesman, apparently he's fully KYC and it didn't matter because he has a track record of failure. And in some cases, it's been believed that his failure were really rug pulls. So we can take this data and we can surmise that the KYC didn't really do you much good. I never at any point said Libero is legit. I said it's doing what they told me. And as long as it's doing what they told me, I can't fault them for it. And if I look at all of the different projects out there that are doing something similar to this, it's the one that has the most realistic stability. Like the APY is unrealistic, but they combined it with compounding throughout the rest. They combined it with staking where you can earn even more. They combined it with the reflection that's a true reflection. They did so much on top of it that, and then the sell fee thing where it mitigates sell off behavior. They did so much around Libero. It felt like it was better thought out, a better thought out version of Titano. So I don't at any point think that a project is or isn't legit simply because I think I'm looking at it and it looks like it's doing what they told me. It's not about legitimacy because we all know for the most part, the only true legitimate, I'm talking really legitimate, safe projects are the ones that are mature. And the only ones that are truly mature, I'm saying really, truly mature, Doge, ETH, Bitcoin. I'll throw Tron in there, sure. The rest of them, you just don't know. We suspect ones like Polygon, et cetera, are going to be okay, but they might have some issues. We don't know. It's doubtful, but they could. Unless you're willing to stick with the core tokens, you're never going to be fully insulated from risk. We just saw Polygon having issues because of that sunflower game, whatever that garbage was. So even it wasn't insulated. Bitcoin's having problems, but Bitcoin is still at record high if you think about it. Ethereum is having issues, but it's still at record high if you consider where it started from. So I'm looking at it as a different picture. I'm looking at it for Libero. I'm looking at it as, is it doing what they told me? And was I able to take profits? And I took profits. I'm in Libero. And once I saw that I could trust it and I got the profits out, so I'm already sitting at surplus, then I was willing to go ahead and let them stake the Libero that I had for X Libero and let it generate rewards, because what do I have to lose? At that point, I've already got the money back. This is kind of throwaway money. At no point did I ever say Libero is a legitimate project. I don't know that it truly is. We can't know. We have to let time pass. Libero is still new from my eyes. Remember, most of the mainstays have been around for a decade or more. So we can't just look at these projects that spun up like 3 months ago and make an assessment that it is or isn't legitimate. We still have to test them over time. That's where Libero is right now. That's where Titano is right now. I don't know about SAFUU yet because it's way too new. I will say that it crapped. And so because it crapped, we have to look at what happens next. Does it recover? Does the guy yank and run? We don't know. It's too new. So you will never hear me say that something definitively is legit. I can look at it and say it looks like it's good. And I might even say it's okay as part of a diverse portfolio, but we just don't know. I'll give you another great example. I did coverage very recently on Forever Financial Freedom on Binance. And I said, this is absolutely not going to sustain. There's no way. And when I look at their stuff, it feels like they're just going to rug pull it. And I got a comment from Angelo that said they just gave the game away. They had an AMA after the pre-launch and then asked why not you do this? And they flooded him, and there's already risk. They're already risking how they're responding on this thing. And I know there's been issues with the pink sale. So that's another one where this is where I call out like I see it. It looks like this is good as part of a diverse portfolio, or this one looks like it's not going to go anywhere. I can always get it wrong. I hope I'm wrong in most cases, but in a lot of cases I've covered, I've been spot on. It takes time. I think a lot of people are just reacting to the now, and I acknowledge some of this, but you're reacting to the now. Don't react to the now. It's a long term. A lot of these are long term. We got to look at them in the long term, big picture. We got to look at the time aspect of people's sentiment and finding the projects and developing the projects and whether it builds to a thing. So far, of these types of projects, Libero is the only one that feels more mature than it is. But even I can't say until more time passes. I hope this time people will listen to the totality of this audio and then go back and listen to the totality of the other audio, because you'll realize that a lot of your rebuttals, a lot of them, not all of them, some of them are valid ones. Mr. Springer, yours is a valid concern. Everybody else, you guys are getting triggered, and I would suggest you listen to the totality of my audio rather than getting triggered off individual words that don't mean anything around numbers in a blockchain.